Yo, man, boom, it's Rusty. Going back to that because it sounded like the right thing to do. Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. I'm your host, Rusty, and I'm going to jump right into it. I'm here with my special guest, and my special guest is right here and right now. And my special guest is Chantelle Botha. Chantelle, welcome to the show.
Ah,
How are
Rusty, this is
you?
awesome. Thank you. I'm so well
Yeah,
and so excited to be on the show. Very
I'm
interested to see what rabbit holes we're going to crawl down.
I think we can. And so, right before we hopped on, we started talking AI. And so, this episode is brought to you by AI because
No, come on.
that's, yeah, this is just going to be all AI, all AI pictures and graphics and sound. And so, I take it by that look that you are not very much into embracing AI. What is your thought process here?
Okay, so let me tell you, I love AI, right? Because
Oh,
of I love how it can support me. If I use AI as an assistant, or as a research tool, or as a thought partner, anything like that, it's great. It's really helping me. But if I outsource my entire business, all of my scripts, all of my thinking, if I outsource all of that, all of my social media posts, what happens is I end up with AI slop. And I think we're seeing a lot in social media of AI slop. You can spot AI a mile away, and people want real, Rusty. I don't want to read your shit. I don't care how clever it is, but I don't want to read it if it sounds like a computer generated it. I want to hear your story.
what are your things that jump out at you that you can tell it is AI? I can tell you my top three would be the M dash,
Yes,
starting sentences with
yes.
and saying honestly. I feel like those three, when I see those three, I'm like, that's AI. That is 100% AI because nobody says honestly. Uh, and starting sentences with and, but somehow that became an okay thing to do. It was a while after you only needed one space after a period. But
Yes,
the and at the end of the sentence sounded weird. But then the M dash is just is everywhere, and that just
absolutely.
sometimes mine brings it up, and I have to rope it back in and say no, 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 we're not doing this.
Don't
I've
go
told you
there.
a lot of times. Yeah, no, no dashes. What are yours?
So, first of all, before I give you mine, I find it so funny that you say that, or interesting that you say that, because I start a lot of my sentences with and I
Okay.
happen to be one of those people who really uses the word honestly quite a lot. Like, honestly, honestly,
Oh,
what do you want? Honestly, so I do. But here's the thing we've got to remember, Rusty, is AI was taught based on humanity. So a whole bunch of literature, styles of writing, styles of thinking is preloaded in AIs, or particularly in large language models back in. So we've taught AI, and now what happens is it regurgitates human characteristics, but it takes it to the nth degree, and that irritates us. So I think different people will spot different things. I mean, for me, it's definitely the M dash as well. And then it's also got this contradiction. So it'll go something along the lines of not laziness, but. So it starts a sentence with a negative and it does this contrast thing. So that's the thing that I'm spotting a lot of. But for me, it's more than that. It feels like there's a formatting, it's one sentence per line. There's a lot of emojis sometimes, unless people clean it up. But there's just a feeling from AI that it feels like a machine.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, uh, I don't know if people are inputting their work um, when they do this or not. What they put in. So, or they're just saying, "Hey, write me, a list of 10 things that are going to, be about yeah, cat towers or something," and then that's it. That's the whole prompt that they have, and then they're like, "Well, this is coming out stupid," but then it's coming out stupid because that's all there is to it. There's nothing saying, and then it's kind of the
Substantial.
same thing with the posters. So the
Yeah.
posters, uh, uh, you can, like you said, it's coming from everything. So you have a lot of stupid ass posters that have been coming out for all over the years, but it's taken a lot of those. But like here, I don't know if in other places of the world, but in the Philippines, I see them all the time, and I see this one font that I've
Yeah.
used before because it came out, and I've used it, and then now I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm like, this is
AI.
it's AI every time, and I'm like, well, so now, but I mean, like, but that's me being lazy, and I know I was lazy, but most of the time I like to go and find something to compare it with. Like I'll
Yeah.
find a font that I like, a style I like, and then I'll put those pictures in there and be like, make it like this, rather than just like make me a poster about cat towers. I'm just gonna say cat
Yeah.
towers all day because that's what I'm thinking about. I guess, but it looks the same.
I think what you're saying is you're talking about the garbage in, garbage out philosophy.
Right.
And
The GIGO.
yeah, exactly. And I think we're kind of getting to that evolution phase. But when AI first took the world by storm, people thought it's going to do everything for me, and they used it exactly that. Write me a post about cat towels, right? So
Right.
then what happens is it comes out with the most generic. There's no thought leadership. There's no humanness. It's generic stuff. But if we're feeding in good prompts and we're really teaching it about our business, our languaging, I mean, I've uploaded my book to my AI model so that it understands my philosophy, so that it understands my conversational style. It's still not perfect. It cannot write for me, but it helps me look at the narrative arc of what I write, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hell of a lot better than having nothing on there and just coming in with a clean slate. And
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch with putting a book in that you've done. Like
Yeah,
just yeah, being able to be sort of close at least, and then you can clean it up on your own. You don't have to just
absolutely.
put out and post the
The
output that it
raw.
gives you. You can still, yeah, you can the raw. You can change it to
Exactly.
anything you want. But this is just a good jumping off point, not just, oh, here it is. It's perfect. Let's throw it
Mm.
in.
But that's exactly it. You know what? Like I say, I love AI because it saves time and especially the creative aspect. I cannot design posters for the love of money, right? So the
Same.
creative, I know it looks like AI, but you know what? It creates the visual, it carries my message, it's going out there. But we've got to come back to treating it like an assistant, not like an outsource. We cannot outsource our thinking to it. It is an assistant, and as such, we instruct it properly and we edit what it gives back to us and we make sure that it still carries our uniqueness. And I think that's the difference.
To be doing that, and I've had this conversation a number of times. There was like so much that I've wanted to do in I don't know when, maybe like the last 2 or 3 years, maybe a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so at least for like the first 40 some years of my life, I've been an idea guy. I've had all these ideas, terrible, terrible organization, but I've never been able to do this stuff. But then, like, as soon as this came out, there's hardly anything that I can't do anymore. Like,
That's the
everything that
thing.
I've had these, yeah, ideas, I can implement them and I can make them reality. And, like, my friend that we work together, we we have our business together, and like we just come up with the most ridiculous stuff together. We just bullshitting back and forth, but then it's like, what wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? Like, no, we can do this. This is something that we can create right now. We can create this and have it out there today, and
Absolutely.
be able to do this, and it's
It
amazing.
is. It's
And
mind blowing because I'm also an ideas person. I'm not an
okay,
execution person.
yeah,
So AI
but
has really helped from the execution point of view, which is fabulous. I mean, I listened to some music. I forget what the artist, I think it's Enly, Enly is the artist's name, but it is jazz music that is completely AI. There is nothing human in there. It is completely AI. And it is spectacular. Spectacular.
it's
So
yeah,
yeah, wow.
it's yeah, like the music part was a hard one for me. Making music, like
Yes.
it just killed my ambition to make anything. But then I started like I'm like, oh, okay, well I can just go and take my musical background, but I can take these prompts that I'm doing and take like what I know from that and then put that into there. But then I've seen people doing it with being able to change the frequency of the music and make it into rather than the I forgot it was 432 or 440, which one's which, but then
Yeah.
switching it between those two, or and then having music that you know puts you in a good mood, not like music that's gonna make you feel good, make you like you can make music that's like gonna do good in the world rather than having music that's gonna make you feel all fucking weird that they've put out for the last 100 years or however long, just
And you know what?
being
That's
able
what
to.
excites me. That really excites me, because I mean, I would never have been able to do something like that. I've
Right.
got a friend who's busy working on a series of tracks with AI at the moment, and it's all about the alpha and the beta and the delta and the theta, all the different brainwave states we have. So if you want to
Yeah.
relax, listen to this one. If you want to like kind of raise your energy, you listen to this one. If you want to do lucid dreaming, you go into this one. So he's creating all these tracks that are at the right frequency. And imagine what we can achieve when we start using that.
I love it. And that's when idea people like you or I start going, oh, if we have this, like, what can we put with this? Now that we can do this, like, because that's what that's a whole different thing. And then once we have that, then what we do, and like it's bypassing stuff, but it's stuff that we would be spending thousands of years trying to get to, but now it's stuff that we have, and then we can go and it's kind of getting rid of the busy work. But I hate busy work. I am
I
not a
also hate
busy
busy
work kind
work.
of guy. You what?
I also hate busy work, and I suck at
Okay,
busy
yeah,
work.
me too.
Far rather generate ideas. Let's
Right.
figure out how to take over the world, but then I need minions to do that shit for me.
Yeah, well, they're coming along. They'll be there, and there's gonna be reasons for that. There's gonna be reasons to get those minions out there, and minions that are going to want to do it because they're seeing what good is doing in the world. And there's so many people just to go and jump right down and say it's going to do nothing but harm, it's going to make people stupid, but that's bullshit. Like, of course, like if I would have had this when I was growing up, I would have had all my schoolwork done in 20 minutes every day. And then I
Mhm.
would be researching the shit out of a bunch of other things, learning how to do everything, and not even,
So true.
like, I don't know. I don't know if I took anything from school that was
That
beneficial,
was
but
valid. That
yeah,
you're using today.
right. But I love learning. I love learning about things, but none of that I
Absolutely.
didn't give a shit about. So,
It's so
I
true.
mean,
So true.
yeah.
And our
And
education system really needs a revamp. I mean, we're kind of flowing out of this AI conversation. Things are changing so rapidly. I mean, do we really need to know what the circumference of a circle is and what the capital city of, I don't know, South Africa is, right? Do we
Right.
need to know that? Because we've got
Yeah.
Google, we've got AI. What we need now is we need a generation of people who can think critically, who can adapt in the face of massive change, who can make decisions. It's all of that soft stuff, which comes back to the music. It's about that potential, finding that potential within you, and how do you use this to change the world, to leave the world a better place.
Right. And if we can leave the world a better place, then we're doing our job. We're doing more than our job of what we were supposed to do. And I mean, we can change the educational system. Like we people don't have to go the the route that they've been going. I don't know what the laws are right now about that, but I mean, there's I feel YouTube University is what can get anyone through anything, and now with AI, it's probably been easier. But I mean, like changing something in my car when I had a car, like I don't know shit about cars. I don't give a fuck about cars. But I could watch a video and go along with it, and they can I can see exactly how to do it, and I can understand that. And it's like, okay,
100.
there it is. Someone's done it already. Someone has put that information out there.
So
And
true.
yeah.
This is how, I mean, my son has always been a motorcycle enthusiast. And he got his first bike when he was 13. And I mean, he's 29 today. So he's been riding for a long
Oh, well,
time.
happy birthday to him.
But thank you. But
Yeah.
he has taught himself about bikes through exactly that from the word go. He's never had someone who can sit with him and say, okay, this is how you be a mechanic for this bike. Every bike he's gone onto YouTube, he's put in, okay, this is the bike, how does it work mechanically? And then he sits with his phone and the bike, and he strips the bike and he watches the tutorial and he gets. So you're right. Knowledge is out there. We don't need more knowledge. What we need
Right.
is more application of that knowledge. How do we relate in a world that's saturated with knowledge?
How do we relate in a world that's saturated with knowledge? We don't have to go know the Dewey Decimal System and be able to, sort of go look through card catalogs, and hopefully something will be in there and it's one answer to everything from probably some publication that is skewed a certain way. But now you have all these difference of opinions to be able to, choose your own opinion of what you think about anything. I mean, history. What I learned about history in school, there's a whole lot of that I don't feel the same
Agree.
about anymore.
You're right. You're absolutely
And
right. But I think that is exactly where we're sitting at the moment. Because we've got so much knowledge, we're sitting in a world where everyone has an opinion. But everyone has become so fixed minded that my way is right, and anything that deviates from my way is wrong. So therefore, everyone is wrong, which creates this whole us versus them scenario. And it needn't be like that, Rusty. I mean, I always say to
yeah,
my clients, how many ways, I'm going to give you something interesting. How many ways are there to wash dishes? Do you know?
a million.
It doesn't matter how many different ways there are. What matters is, are the dishes clean? And that's what we've got to remember in this journey called life, right? What is our purpose here? It's not to convince you of my opinion. It's to learn, it's to grow, it's to leave the world a better place. Whatever your interpretation of that is, let's not get stuck on semantics where we're arguing opinions all the time, but let's relate.
And it's great to be wrong, because when you're wrong, that means you're learning.
Exactly.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things I've been wrong about, and I have been happy. I thought hypnosis was fake. Uh, I was wrong about that one. That
Absolutely.
was one of the best things that I've ever learned. But I was just always so in that thought process of no, it's just fake. It's a magic trick.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I yeah, and it's like okay, well, I was wrong. Good. Uh,
You, you know what a friend of mine says, and it's such a good sort of phrase. Society advances because scientists are willing to drop belief systems. And
Yeah,
effectively, that's it. What you've just said, I didn't believe in something, then I did, and so I've grown. Or growed. Listen to my language, grown. So you've advanced, right? And that's the only
right,
way we grow is if we can drop belief systems and say, hey, I was wrong. But let's
right.
find out what else is exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, like the phrase like a scientific fact is doesn't make any sense. There should be no scientific fact ever, like because it can always be changed. It can always be proven wrong. It can always be, you know,
You can
it's
argue
no
the flip
matter how
side.
concrete. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
It's like the flat Earth versus round Earth debate.
right.
I was having
There's
this conversation with a friend the other day, and we were arguing both sides or different sides of the sort of argument, for and against.
yeah,
And eventually she turns to me and she says to me, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because it doesn't change what we're here to do. It doesn't change that we're here to grow, learn, relate, and make the world a better place. How does knowing whether the earth is round or flat change that? And it doesn't.
right. And why does that matter for people to think one way or another about someone else? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, as long as, yeah, we're evolving and learning and growing
Yeah,
and relating, and as long
absolutely.
as that's happening, what what's the point of,
Who cares?
right? Who cares? Who
Exactly.
cares?
Great intellectual debates, right? We can have
Yeah,
these debates. I love those philosophical conversations. But who cares? Who
right.
cares?
At the end of the day, we're still going to be doing the same thing we're doing. We might think something might be a bit different. It may change your whole world. It may not at all. It may still be something, but it's good to walk into any conversation with an open mind. You know, uh,
Absolutely. Mhm.
yeah. If and it's also good to talk to people that have different of opinion as you too. But then,
It
like you're
is.
saying, at the same time, it doesn't matter at the end. You can
Absolutely.
talk to people
Absolutely.
that, yeah, have the same opinion as you all day. You might not learn anything, but someone who challenges your opinion,
Mm.
that's that could be, but then that's also when people tend to freeze up. People tend to get very bullheaded.
Yes.
People tend to feel like they're being attacked and hurt. And then that's when, yeah, go ahead.
And that's what creates this us versus them divide. Because what happens is, on a psychological level, and I mean, it's much deeper than this, but effectively, what happens when you're met with a difference of opinion or someone who contrasts your worldview of something that you're quite passionate about is there comes fear. And the fear is a deep subconscious psychological fear. We might not even be aware that it's showing up as fear, but there's fear. It creates this divide, and then it's the us versus them. And out of that fear, that's where hatred and genocide and all of those ugly things come. So we've got to learn to sit with that fear and start shifting that fear, to my mind, into curiosity. And that's why I agreed to come on this podcast, because you said the curious word, and I
Ooh,
love curiosity.
okay, yeah. I mean, curiosity is something. It That's what cat towers are for. It doesn't always kill the cat. Sometimes there's a cat tower, but curiosity is important, and it's good to find those places and find those gray areas and find places to play around with ideas, because ideas aren't facts.
Correct.
And if idea becomes a fact, then it's kind of
Then you've stopped growing.
theoretical. Yeah, you
Mhm.
stop growing. Yeah, it's like being the smartest person in the room. When you're the
Absolutely.
smartest person in the room, get the fuck out. You've
Exactly.
done.
It's like this,
Who are you
my
trying?
job is done.
Right.
No.
Now I'm good. I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm gonna have everybody I'm gonna make sure that they're not as smart as I am. And if anybody tries to challenge that, then I'm gonna bow up and be, flex my shit, because I don't want to think that someone is smarter than me or that I'm wrong.
And
And
that's where
that
that
is
fear comes from.
right. That's a huge fear for some people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting. Sad.
Yeah, yeah. And what I mean, some people that's what they're striving for. Some people really want that, and whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you know, yeah. I'm.
Well,
I don't know if I've ever been the smartest person in a room, but I know when I'm starting to get kind of close, and that's usually a time to get out and
just,
go find
yeah.
a new room.
And that awareness is so important. I think this whole concept of being the smartest person in the room, it feeds our ego.
Sure.
So the closer you get to that supposed ideal, you start getting the sense of self-importance and validation and all the rest, and people come to me for all my wisdom and my knowledge, you know. And it's a construct, and what we're doing is we're feeding this ego. But yeah, I never want to be that person. I
Yeah,
always
but
want to be the person who is learning from. But that's also a tough path. I got to be honest, Rusty. I banged my head not too long ago, and I was like, "How much stronger do you need me to be?"
how much stronger can you be?
Oh, I know, but sometimes jeepers. Sometimes when life,
Yeah,
oh,
life gets life, and sometimes, and we're wondering why we're still doing this, and we're wondering what the reasoning is behind it. But maybe the reasoning behind it is being able to talk about it, because maybe it hasn't popped into somebody's head. Maybe none of these ideas have gotten out there, and
exactly,
maybe
exactly.
people can jump
And it's
ahead.
not
They can
even
have
about
that.
getting.
It's just
But it's not even about, as much as it is about getting ideas out there. It's not even so much about that. It's about when life is lifing, can we be vulnerable? And can we still relate in the tough situations as well as in the good situations?
well, yeah, like you were saying, like relating is a big part of that, and relating is something we all have to do at some level. Like if we can't relate with someone, we better figure out how. We better, you can't just be like, okay, well, I can't even relate with you. Like, why?
Absolutely.
Where's this huge disconnect? Like,
Yeah.
what can we relate on? Not
Yeah.
just fuck them. I can't.
Exactly.
I don't have anything to do with them. There's always something uh, to relate on.
Yeah.
It just
So
maybe takes a
true.
little bit of work.
I'll never forget, I spoke to a friend some years ago who was in a job that she hated. And I asked her how she got through the day. And she said to me, "You know what, Sean?" She says, "I find something in everybody that I can love." So everyone who comes across my path, who irritates me, those clients, the whatever it might be, every person, she finds something in that person. And she said sometimes it might be as simple as, "Oh, I like that person's hair," or, "Oh, that person looks like she's got kind eyes," you know. But she found something to love in every person, and that's how she got through. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, I don't think enough people take that time to do that more. What that person that you don't think you can relate to can bring to you, or the what that person represents that you yourself need to work on. And
Exactly.
that's one of those hard ones that
It's a
that
hard one.
jumps out. It's like, why is this fucking person like this? And it's like, well, what do I need to learn about myself that I'm seeing this in this person,
Absolutely.
but here this is why this is annoying me. This is why I can't
Yeah.
stand this fucking person. It's like, what is it about me? It's not about them.
It's not. It's effectively, it's that mirror effect, right?
Right.
And what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to turn away from that. So if they're relating with me and they see something in me that they don't like, they'll turn away from that. But can we into that projection? And can we ask ourselves, what am I? What is my role in this? What am I projecting onto this person? Is this a shadow aspect of myself that I need to resolve or work on? Those are good questions.
Shadow right there is one thing. It's not going anywhere. That shadow's sticking with you, and that shadow can always, use a bit of diving into, because that's all stuff that's going to come up in one way or another. And
It
when's
is.
it going to come up, and how are you going
Mhm.
to be
Yeah.
equipped to be there for it next time it shows up? Because there it
Oh,
comes. And
I I was chatting with my son just this morning, and we got onto the subject of shadows. And my whole philosophy in terms of shadows, I've always been, you've got to go to the cave, or the cave that you most fear holds the treasure that you most seek, right? So that's always been my philosophy. However, my wise son said it slightly differently this morning, and it kind of triggered me a little bit, but I thought, I think he's actually right. He said, Mum, you've got to become the monster that's in your darkness before you can conquer the monster and lose the darkness. Mm, yeah, yeah.
so the only way to kill that monster or conquer that monster is to
Is
become
to
that
become a
equal, become the mirror of uh, that monster. That mirror we've been holding up
But
is
that
the
goes
mirror
back
that.
to psychology, where it says we repress what's in the shadow. And by becoming the monster, you're actually saying, you know what, I'm not going to repress it. I'm going to bring it into the light. I'm going to own this part of me. This is the monster.
Yeah, and sometimes, yeah, that monster is a big one to fucking tackle. And you look at it and you're like, shit, shit, okay.
I did this.
Yeah, I know where you are. I know where you are. I'm gonna get to you. We'll see you soon. But shit, I see you. This is gonna be a thing. But this is gonna help. But like you're saying, yeah, like you just gotta eventually get to it. And like you said, yeah, whatever it is to become that monster. Um, like whatever that fear is, like uh, I've talked with someone that's had a bunch of anger, but is it was in the healing
Mhm.
game, and it's like I gotta stop, having this anger. Like I gotta. I'm like, no, you don't. You gotta take that. That's your fucking shit right there. That's the strongest thing you have right there. That's what's gonna go and get you to be able to do what you can do. That's your power right there. Don't hide from that. Like that is something. You have that for a reason. And
Absolutely.
I don't think that
That's
was.
where I talk about your shadow being the seat of your creativity. Because effectively, like you've just said, the anger is the monster, right? So we tend to label it negative. We create that separation. It's not part of me, it's the monster. Um, but if we can access it, if we can become that monster, if we can embody that anger, we can redirect its energy into something far more creative, far more productive than tearing down.
Absolutely, and it's there, and it's all about that redirecting of energy. It's the you fall off of a boat and you're in the rapids. You don't try to swim up against the rapids. You go and you point your feet downstream and you just go. If you're going to get into a car accident, you don't tense up and hold on to everything. You don't hold on to the oh shit bar. That's when your arm's going to get fucking ripped right off. You just like when there's drunk driving accidents, who survives? The drunk person, because they're so fucking
True, they're
relaxed,
relaxed.
and, and they're just going along with it. And that's what people need to be doing. Don't. I'm not saying don't go out drinking and driving, but like go out and like
Yeah.
flow with it. Just that,
Stop
that's what.
resisting is what you're saying.
Stop
Stop
resisting.
resisting.
Yeah, yeah. There's no reason to
Absolutely.
resist. The resisting is just going to hurt you.
So true. And I also remember just talking about this, that relaxedness when you fall. So I was a South African gymnast when I was much, much younger. I can't even do the splits today, right? So that was an ancient part of history. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, being a gymnast taught me how to fall and it taught me how to roll. And what I didn't realize is it's so much a part of my muscle memory. So a couple of years ago, I went horse riding with some friends of mine. And I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So I saw a gap and I galloped across a field. And I lost my stirrup. And of course, I came off. But now there was someone, a friend of mine was riding behind me. And as I came off, he said to me, Chantelle, that is the most elegant fall I have ever seen in my entire life. He said, you just tucked and rolled. And he said, it was almost like you landed on your feet.
Like I'm a professional.
There you go. But isn't that relevant for how we should live our lives? We resist failure so often. But what would happen if we learned to fall, if we learned to roll with it?
That's you don't get fucking hurt too bad. Because I mean, yeah, like the
Like the drunk
reaction,
driver.
the drunk driver. Same thing with wrestling. Like like I had to learn how to fall. I had to learn how to roll and that stuff. And like that's helped out a number of times for me taking some spills here and there. And it's the same thing. Like if you don't loosen up, you're gonna get hurt.
Absolutely.
If you go and you take some fucking weird fall, that's when you break something,
Exactly.
you knock yourself out.
So,
Like
so
you were
true.
just you went back to what you knew, and you just felt it, and you just went with your instincts without
Uh,
having to worry. It just naturally happened, and that's what people should be doing. Is you
agree.
might not, yeah, you might not need to learn how to fall, but at least know how
Tuck and
to
roll.
to tuck and roll, to figure out what to do when you fall. Don't tense
Exactly.
up. Don't just.
Exactly.
It's going to be a lot easier if you just stay loose.
Just go
If you
with it,
tense up,
right?
yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
that opens up another thing that is part of my belief system. And I come right back to where we started this conversation with AI. In our modern economy, we live from the neck up. Everything we do with thought. So everything is powered in the head, and we've almost forgotten that we've got a body. And I talk about how some people treat their body like a pet, feed it, groom it, make sure it doesn't smell, make sure it behaves itself.
Right.
But just talking about this analogy of learning to fall, stop resisting, tuck and roll, I find it so interesting that the people who can do that physically can actually handle the existential crises a whole lot better because they're embodied, because they've included their body in their mental faculties. They are a holistic person. I don't know if you've ever noticed that connection.
That makes a lot of sense
Yeah. Keep an
because
eye out. Take a look at people that you know who life's for. The people who are more physical in their general life generally get through mental challenges easier than the people who are not physical.
so would that go to uh, I mean, exercising is some bit exercising, breathing every day is going to help,
I
kind
think
of a
so.
deal.
I
Yeah,
think so.
I could sit around and do nothing, and I can watch my body and my mind kind of start to tank a little bit. Then And I started doing yoga, and I'm breathing and stretching and shit, and all of a sudden
Creative
everything
ideas.
changes. Yeah, everything
Exactly.
falls into place, and I'm like, I gotta go do this. I gotta
Absolutely.
get over here. I gotta
Yeah,
work on this, and I
that's
feel better.
exactly.
I'm not just thinking about
Yeah,
I fucking hurt.
exactly.
And
So
yeah,
as much as it is sort of, it comes from an exercise philosophy, I don't like calling it an exercise philosophy. Because we've used exercise as a big stick to beat ourselves up with for so long. Oh, I must go to the gym. I must go for a run. It's so hard, which is bullshit.
yeah,
We've got bodies that were designed to move. So I always say to my clients, just move your body. What feels good? Do you want to dance a little bit? Do you want to jump up and down? What do you want to do? What does your body feel like doing? But we got to get in the habit of moving our bodies, because you move your body and then you move your mind.
right. I think the best ideas I've come up with have been on walks. And it could be in fucking the middle of a city. It could be in the prettiest of nature. It doesn't really even matter. Like
Absolutely.
either way, just being able to walk and have that going. That's when everything starts going, and that's when you know I need something. That's when I need my pen and paper or my phone or whatever the hell I'm writing stuff down on, because it's all coming out. That's when things
Absolutely.
happen.
That's it.
And
That's when I send myself voice notes, because also on my runs and on my walks, that's when I get my best ideas. And in nature, of course.
so, what do you do with your voice notes? Do you end up going and listening to them, or do you have a bunch of voice notes that you don't ever listen to again, and it's just kind of piling up? That kind of happens with me. I would just be like, or screenshots that I have. It's like, oh, I'm gonna need this for later,
A
and
little
then
bit of both.
okay,
Sometimes
just
I'm really good and I set aside time and I'm like, check those voice notes and those screenshots, and then I go back and I action everything. But other times I'm like, oh, holy hell, I haven't checked that shit in like 2 weeks.
right, but it's in there. It's in there. I got it out of my head though, which I
That's
guess is
it.
the yeah, it's there if I ever want to go back. Maybe one day I can get someone to go and look through it for me and be like, "Hey, do you remember when you said that?" That's what I'm hoping for. Someday that's gonna happen. Someday or my AI is gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you have that idea right here." When I was going through all your notes here, and you're like, you
Exactly.
should do something with that. Oh shit, thanks. I knew I put that there for a reason. Like that should be there. And
I
so
love it.
yeah, so let's where are people going to find you? How do people work with you? Because you're enjoyable to talk with, and I can imagine that you'd be great to work with. How do people find you? How do people work with you? What do they do?
Oh, amazing. Rusty, people can find me on my website, phoenixconfidence.com, or LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, any of and I'll pop a couple of links over to you that you can just pop in the comment section if you want to share those.
What do you do on LinkedIn? I'm always curious about that. What people are doing on LinkedIn, because I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but people are on here and people are doing stuff. So what
It's a
happened?
bit businessy, right?
Sometimes, and I don't know if I fit, because when I got into it, there was like, okay, the person that was in some sort of vocational something or other, and they said, "Oh, go and link with all these other hypnotists." And so I did that. And did I do anything with that? Nope. But I linked with a bunch of hypnotists on there. And do I look at it?
Like the
Nope, I
voice
don't.
notes.
But like the voice notes, they're in there, but they're not
They're
doing
not live, but
anything.
they're there.
What? So what about your YouTube? What do you do on your YouTube channel? I
So effectively, my YouTube channel is for my videos, and I use my videos to educate and inform, really about my methodology. I help people make conscious choices. And, we live in a life that's full of contradictions and all of these tensions, and a lot of the things you and I have been discussing this morning. And it's really about proactive and conscious choice. That is how we learn and grow. So I share a lot of educational, sort of controversial videos on not controversial, but provocative, I suppose. I talk about
okay.
desire and shame. I talk about who versus how. I talk about all of these tensions that we experience. So,
Giving people something to be a bit curious about. Uh,
yes,
yeah,
yes. And
yeah.
those are my three pillars, incidentally. As much as I talk about conscious choice, my three pillars: curiosity, courage, and confidence. But it starts
But
with curiosity. And that's why I love curiosity, because unless we
yeah,
can develop that curious mind, how can we change the choices we're making?
how can we? And what will it do? Will it do anything except it will do everything and nothing and something a little bit sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
And we won't know until we ask, right? Or
right,
explore, or test, or
right.
fall.
Our fall. It's great to fall. It's great to fall. It's great to fail. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's okay. That's where we're learning, and that's when you learn that when you fail, if you fall and you tense up, you hurt yourself. You're like, oh well, maybe I should learn how to fall. Maybe I should go be a gymnast in South Africa. Maybe that's what I should be doing tomorrow. It's time to sign up.
Or wrestling in the Philippines.
Or wrestling in the Philippines. Either one. Either one's going to get you there. Either one's going to make you be able to be a little bit more go with the flow. And you know, it's not always like go with the flow, but go with the flow, because
Absolutely.
sometimes the flow that you're on, you think it's the right flow, but it's not the right flow, and then you go down a different part of that river, and that's okay. Maybe you just go and you get out of the river for a second, and you walk across to the other part of the river, and you go down that, and
And you're
you're
right, it's
gone.
such a great analogy. But that's life. Life is all about the choices we make. The choices we make lead us into the rivers that we're flowing in. And if your river's
Right.
not working for you, get up and go find another river. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, there's a lot of rivers in this world, and
Exactly.
there's two of them that float up to the north. Every other one floats south. Uh,
That's it.
find whichever one works. If all the ones you go in are they're floating south, go find one of the ones that's floating up. I guess not floating
Absolutely.
up, floating north.
Floating. Yes,
Go,
exactly. I got
go
you.
there. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
And you know what? If you're not a river person, go find a lake or the ocean.
yeah,
Plenty
you can
for you to
just
play with.
yeah. There's a lot in the ocean. The
Yeah.
ocean's pretty fucking big, and lakes you got a lot of room, or you might not have a little. You might have a little tiny room. If it's closer to a pond, maybe it's a pond. Maybe it's a hot tub, and
Oh,
you're in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But that's the thing. It boils down to what do you want and what are the choices you're making? And that is my life's work. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being on here, and I appreciate the conversation that we got to have today about figuring out what we're going to talk about right before we hopped on the call and just went with it. We flow in like that river that we were on today. So thank you for
Yeah.
uh,
It was amazing, Rusty. Thank you for having
yeah,
me. I've had an absolute blast. I think we've had a really fun conversation. And yeah, it's been a good start to
likewise.
my week.
Yeah. That's a Monday. Mondays. If your Monday is something you dread, go get in another fucking river. There's a lot of other rivers in this world. Go find a different
Exactly.
river. If
Or
you're
your hot tub.
thinking, or your hot tub. If you're like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they suck. That's more than 50% of your life that fucking sucks. Go find a
Exactly.
different river, find a hot tub. It's okay.
Oh,
I promise you, there's other ones. Yeah.
couldn't have said it better. Here.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll stay in touch, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and your week. Then, Chantelle.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
Rusty, and
Well,
you too. Take care. Hey.
you're welcome. All right. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
All right. I cut her off like a fucking dickhead. She was saying bye, and I cut her off. But that was fun. So that was Chantelle Botha. So check her out because that's what you're going to get. And that's what I want to show people when I do this show. That's the kind of conversation I want to have. So when you're wondering, what is the show about? That's what the show's about. So thank you everybody for being here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. If you are watching this on YouTube or Rumble or something, and you're watching it, you're going, fuck, I don't want to look at this guy's face. You can go listen anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find this. There's the Public Access Podcast. You search it, and that's where it is. So there's someone else that has a show called Public Access Podcast. They started it after I did, and fuck them. If I find them, what up? So thanks everyone for being here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. Find my stuff, rustydiamond.net. You can find everything you need there. Get a hold of me. It's easy. And that is the show. Man. Boom!